Hey guys, Super Rugby Pacific round 15 is coming up. It is the second to last round of the Super Rugby regular season. After next week's games, that will be it for Fantasy Super Rugby, so it is time to just go all out. As usual though, we're not quite there yet, so let's get into who the best player picks for this round are gonna be. Taking a quick look at this round's matchups first though, we've got Crusaders versus the Chiefs on the Friday night. It is in Christchurch, so it's under the cover, no need to worry about conditions, and this is gonna be the big game of the round. No D-Mac for the Chiefs, whereas Crusaders, they've got Will Jordan back, they've got Shea Fihaki back, and look, I wasn't that impressed by the Chiefs last week against the Highlanders, while Crusaders, they're coming into this pretty rested. Last time they played this matchup was quite early in the season. Chiefs got a bit of a hot start, but then the Crusaders, they were able to pull them back late. Not sure if it's going to be the same this time, to be honest. Defenses are a lot better at this stage of the season, so I'm thinking of a score more like 32-28, something like that, and I am going to pick the Crusaders as well. I think the Chiefs missing D-Mac, it's kind of, yeah, it's going to make things rough for them, and the Crusaders, man, they're on the up. So fantasy-wise, I'm kind of inclined to fade this matchup just because of the arm wrestle potential. I don't think it will be an out-and-out arm wrestle in a grindy sort of way, but probably not going to be like a sort of points fiesta with each side carving each other up like it was last time. So there's also a lot of better matchups available this week as well. And later on the Friday, we got the Waratahs versus the Brumbies. This will be in Sydney. Weather looks pretty good at the moment, at least. And we've got two teams here that are really just sort of struggled. They've failed to pick up as the season has gone on. And the Tars, they put on that big score against the Ndrua in Fiji last week, but kind of put that down to the inconsistency of the Ndrua as much as anything else. So can't really see them going to town on the Brumbies in the same way, even at home. And look, fantasy-wise, this matchup is actually quite tricky because both of these teams have been pretty leaky at times in the season, but they've also both been bogged down in arm wrestles at different times lately either, especially sort of in more recent rounds. So bit of a dicey matchup. We'll pick from this one if we have to though. Then on to the Saturday's game. First up we have Moana Pacifica versus the Reds. This will be in Auckland, and at the moment looks like there's a chance of showers, but definitely nothing drastic around Saturday. And look, I mean, Moana, they're our favorite matchup for fantasy, and nothing has really changed, to be honest. The Reds, they did kind of flounder last week against the Force, but they've got a lot of reinforcements back for this round to come over to New Zealand. I mean, they got Mika Wright, Salakai Lotto, Dangunu, Josh Fluke, Ted McDermott, he's making a return after a pretty long layoff as well. So quite a different team compared to last week. And I think they should be able to put a lot of points on Moana, even away from home. So yeah, fantasy-wise, this game is definitely live. Then after that, we got Hurricanes taking on the Highlanders in Wellington. No rain currently forecast for this game. And man, after last week, the Canes, they look absolutely irrepressible, just ripping apart the Blues. And the Highlanders, I mean, they actually put up a pretty decent fight against the Chiefs, I thought, despite conceding a lot of points by the end of the game. I don't think they'll be able to hold back the Hurricanes though, especially without Caleb Tangatau. And fantasy wise, yeah, I think this game, it's another live game as well. Two very strong options to draw from this week. Then finally we have the Force versus the Ndrua. This is in Perth. Conditions look good at the moment weather wise, and man, like who knows what to make of the Ndrua after last week. I mean, they truly are just the basket case of this competition. And I mean, their season, it's practically over now. And I mean, the last two games, they're gonna be away from home. And yeah, I'm kind of expecting them to get a bit rolled, to be honest, unfortunately. And I mean, the only thing is though, like the Force are in a good position here, but they're not exactly an attacking powerhouse, right? So yeah, I'm wary of investing too deeply in this game just for that reason, even though I expect the Force to do very well. And just one last thing, guys, before we get into the actual player picks, I thought I'd share this little chart that I did up. Someone in the comments has been asking for something that lets you basically compare how different fantasy player positions go against certain teams, and that's basically what this chart does. You got all the team positions down the left hand side here: hooker, lock, center, back, and at the bottom you have the teams, so Blues, Brumbies, Chiefs, all of that. And as an example, like if you look here where you got this deep red where it's outside backs coming up against Moana Pacifica, you can see they score a lot more points than average compared to what the baseline is for outside back scoring points across the entire competition averaged out. And then conversely, like if you look in these blue cells, like up here we got Hurricanes with hookers playing against the Hurricanes, they get a lot less points on average than they would normally in a regular game. And look, I mean, that just makes sense, right? Like the Hurricanes' more defense has been very good. They've only conceded, I think, one try to a hooker all year, which is the lowest out of anybody. And then as a counterpoint, like with the Endure, right? We know that hookers go very well against the Endure because the Maul has been used with great success against the Endure. I think they've conceded 12 tries to hooker this year. And yeah, that's basically just how this chart works, right? Like the sort of red areas are where a position has done better against a team than average, and the blue areas are where they've done worse. So you know, you can pause this video here or just take a screenshot if you like. And yeah, I thought it might just be kind of helpful if you're kind of having trouble picking between a few different options that you kind of rate the same. Maybe you can use this chart and look at the matchup in their end and maybe, you know, just play the odds a little bit that way. But yeah, I wouldn't put too much stake in this type of chart, to be honest. Definitely stick with trusting your instincts and what you know. But yeah, just thought I would share this with you guys anyway if you want to make use of it in some way. Now let's get into the actual player picks. We will start with the back three. And look, I mean, Will Jordan, Shea Fihaki, they're both back this week. Both two very, very, very strong options, have been all season. But yeah, like this Chiefs matchup, it's probably not going to be the sort of game where the outside backs are just sort of carving through each other, right? It was like that when they first played at the start of the season, but that was a long time ago now. And you know, just think about that Canes versus Crusaders game, right? Like there were tries scored, but it was kind of like, you know, there was a real sort of back and forth, to and fro. They weren't really just cutting through each other. There was just sort of key moments where each team was able to capitalize. So kind of feel like this game is going to follow that same sort of dynamic. Might be wrong though. I mean, the Chiefs, they are a bit underpowered this week without D-Mac. So, I mean, who knows? The Crusaders might put the Chiefs away. If you think that's going to happen, I mean, both these guys are great options. Probably wouldn't double down and go with both though, to be honest. Will Jordan would be my preferred option. But the other thing is, when these guys are coming back from long injuries, you don't know if they're going to play the full 80. Johnny McNichol is on the bench. He can play fullback, he can play wing, but you got to imagine Will Jordan stays on, right? You got to imagine they want him to you know, get back into the swing as quickly as possible, given that we are so close to the playoffs. And then look, with the Hurricanes outside backs, you got Morby, you got Naholo, you also have Nani Punavai, who is making a comeback after a long injury. And look, I mean, yeah, I already said that Highlanders matchup is great for the Canes, and I've picked up Naholo. I've made him captain. I wouldn't blame you for doubling down on Canes this week either, but the only really thing to think about is the sub situation. Johnny Roberts on the bench, so he will be replacing a midfielder. Peyton Spencer's also on the bench as well, so if he actually comes on and plays 10, I suspect Ruben Love might move to fullback, and then Morby probably goes to the wing and Punivai goes off. So Naholo, I think, will be the best pick, or maybe Morby as well if you want to double down and go for 2. With the Waratahs boys, Jorgo, Harvey, like I already said about that Brumbies match, it's kind of a weird one for me, right? Not quite sure how that's going to go. Either way, though, these guys, I mean, they're solid, but when you've got sort of, you know, these options in the Hurricanes and Reds, probably not solid enough. If I was going to pick one, though, I would go for Sid Harvey. Dylan Peach, I think, is back in the picture for this week. I already talked about the Endura and how I think because their season is practically over and they have away games that they could up getting a bit rolled. I mean, the Force, they have done it to them before as well. So yeah, Dylan Peach is kind of back on the cards. I've picked him up. Don't necessarily think he is in the top 3 options for the slot this week, but you know, we only got a couple of weeks left. I want to have some fun. I want to be cheering for Peachy. He's out there playing his heart out. He's going for that Wallabies jersey, so that's why I've picked him up. But the other ones to seriously consider are these Reds backs. You've got Campbell, Tim Ryan, Dungunu. He's actually playing in the midfield this week, so I'd probably avoid him, to be honest. But the other one to be aware of is Trayvon Pritchard. He is getting a start, which has been pretty rare for him this year. He's come off the bench a lot, really hasn't had a lot of game time, but man, this youngster, like, by the numbers, he's pretty good, man. He really can tear it up, and that's why I've selected him and picked him this week. He probably is going to get subbed for Lockie Anderson, so yeah, that definitely puts a limit on his potential, and he probably isn't going to be the best pick out of all the Reds just because of that. So you've got Jock Campbell, you've got Tim Ryan. Both of these guys are just very similar on paper. So yeah, you kind of can't really go wrong with either one. But yeah, I guess because Lockie Anderson's on the bench, Jock Campbell, you can kind of pick him and just be confident that he's not going to get subbed at least. Moving on to the midfield, and let's talk about our 2 big guns at the top. Quinn Tupaia, he is back this week, and man, he's probably been one of the players of the season, right? Just in general and in fantasy, it's just been super consistent. Easy games, tough games, he has put up big, decent, solid, way above average scores. So I think you can make a good case to fade him this week coming up against the Crusaders, but I mean, we've seen him do well even in tough matches, right? So yeah, definitely not a pick I would turn my nose up at. And then Fainga'anuku, he is the other one, right? And yeah, he's starting again at 7 this game, and I think you kind of have to pick him just because even though it's kind of the same situation with Tupaia where it's like opportunities might be limited, the thing about Fainga'anuku is that they've just created all these structured moves where he is like the linchpin, he's the key man, and the play either, you know, it's him carrying the ball or it's him, you know, giving the ball that creates the opening. So yeah, that's the reason to pick him, right? Like, you just know they're going to be busting out some sneaky plays where he will either score off or he'll get some sort of assist with the try assist or a line break assist. And that's just on top of all those other things he does where he gets the turnovers and the offloads, the tackle busts, and can score tries in his own right as well, just using his power, right? So I've locked Fainga'anuku in this week. And look, I mean, when it comes to the Canes, you've got Geordie Barrett and Balin Sullivan. I mean, Geordie Barrett, he's been super solid all year as well. Coming up against the Hurricanes, he's probably going to do well, get a bunch of those try assists. Only mark against him this week is that Johnny Robert is on the bench, and I suspect Robert will place Barrett. May not necessarily happen. I guess he could replace Sullivan as well. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like maybe they will probably want to rest Barrett if they've already got the game under control. And I've picked up Balin Sullivan. Usually only really consider picking him up when he's out on the wing, but he is in the 13 jersey for this one. And, you know, it's the Highlanders matchup, so he might go well. But, yeah, we'll see what happens. But may not necessarily. It's probably more of a risky pick, right? Like on average, he's gonna get a lower score than probably Tupaia does, even in a tough match. But yeah, if the Canes really carve up against the Highlanders, he definitely could go quite well. Another option I would seriously consider in this slot though is Josh Fluke, just because of that Moana matchup. And historically, Josh Fluke has been pretty good. He was pretty strong last year, and it's a good lineup for the Reds. So yeah, definitely think Fluke is a pick that maybe not necessarily a lot of people would be going for, but could still do very well. And in the 10 slot for me this week, I really feel like Carter Gordon's like the only game in town, right? He's a 10, he's going up against Moana, will have opportunities himself to, you know, get breaks, try assists, will probably also be getting a lot of shots on goal as well. So yeah, if you're big on the Reds this week, it just makes sense. If you're not, I mean, it gets kind of tricky, right? Like Jacob and Reihana, they're in that tough head-to-head matchup, probably not going to be a lot of space for them. Meredith and Bowen, I mean, kind of the same thing, right? And Bowen, I mean, I assume Sid Harvey's still going to be the one taking the shots at goal. Pellegrini is back this week, but really he just has not been good this year. I mean, Rambitu maybe, but he's like the most carded guy in the competition. And yeah, I'm kind of expecting the Endure not to do that well, but hey, they're so unpredictable, you never know. And with the fly halves, got a couple of standout options here. While the big news, I guess, is that Tate McDermott, he is finally back after a very long layoff. It's going to be his first game of the season, coming up against Moana as well, so should make things a bit easier for him. But you got to wonder with these guys when they've had a long layoff. They don't tend to get a lot of minutes when they first come back, so we'll see what happens though. He still could do pretty well, and with halfbacks, I mean, they usually end up getting subbed anyway, right? So shouldn't make that much of a difference. The other option is, of course, Irianari. Haven't really been a big fan of this guy generally, but we saw last week against the Blues, he got this pretty good score, but just the way it happened, right? They clearly had some structured sort of moves set up for him, that because they knew Cam Roygaard's out, right? So they've had time with Inari in training to sort of set him up with some moves close to the rucks and inside balls, that sort of thing, which yeah, really helped them get that big score. And I imagine that's going to be the same this week, right? Against the Highlanders, he's probably going to have some moves to create some things. So yeah, I think he is a live option for sure. Elsewhere though, it's kind of tough. I mean, we know Hotham, like he's probably been the second best halfback this year, but I mean, are the opportunities going to be there against the Chiefs? Kind of the same for Radama. Lonergan, I do actually think is a good option. I mean, he might get some shots at goal. And yeah, the Brumbies, I mean, they could go well against the Waratahs. It is kind of a tough one to pick there. Now with the loose forwards, always a lot of good options as usual. I've got McWright, Tupou Tailoa, and Carlo Tizzano, and I'm actually very big on Carlo Tizzano this week. I feel like it's pretty much a must pick in the back row. just because of that Endura matchup, right? Talked about it before. The Endura, their maul defense is kind of weak, right? They've conceded a lot of tries via the maul, and Carlo Tizzano, he's often the one that gets that ball at the back of the maul and gets over the line. And outside of that, he's just a good player anyway, right? Can find his own way to the line. So yeah, definitely a very, very strong pick this week. And look, I mean, Lakai, he's available this week. Definitely a very strong option. Probably a better option than McWright, to be honest. But, well, we'll see. And, yeah, Tupu Taialoa, I mean, he's been consistently pretty strong, even though he's kind of hit the skids a bit in recent weeks. But yeah, we'll see what happens. I like backing the big man. Satiti, I mean, he's been trying hard lately, right? He looks like a guy who wants to play for an All Blacks jersey, but yeah, definitely a very tough matchup to rack up a lot of fantasy points. And with the locks, I mean, we've sort of just got this core of 3 guys who are so dominant, and I actually expect them to do very well this week. I mean, Jeremy Williams, he hasn't sort of put up a good score for a while, but I mean, this guy gets a lot of his points from the line-out steals, and he's coming up against the Endura this week who, yeah, I mean, they don't exactly have the tidiest line-out, right? So there will be opportunities for him there. And the same is kind of true of Derns as well. I mean, that Highlanders line-out has had a lot of problems this year. They kind of have sorted it out in the last few weeks, but you know, it's still not like a great line out. So yeah, he's going to have opportunities there, and he's good around the park anyway, right? We've seen him get tries from those charge downs, that sort of thing. And look, I mean, Lockie Shaw, he's just got a nose for the line as well, right? So as usual, can't go wrong with these 3 guys. If you want to get away from him though, I mean, you've got these Reds as an option. Josh Canham, he's back this week, and yeah, historically, he's been quite a strong pick in the lock slot. You also got Salakai Lotto there as well, who's been pretty solid and does have the ability to get over the line. And we know Moana, they have conceded a lot of tries to forwards this year as well. And with the hooker slot, I mean, things are kind of tricky this week, right? Like Taukeaho, I mean, he's just been the dominant hooker all year, the MVP. And yeah, he's coming into a pretty tough matchup, right? Like, I don't know if he's going to walk over like 2 more tries or anything this week. It's probably not going to be that easy. But look, he's still going to go well, right? And, you know, he might get extra minutes as well if the game is tight. So, as usual, cannot go wrong with Taukeaho, but you could still make a good argument that it's not a bad time to get off him and you know, try someone else for a bit of fun. And that's what I've done this week. I've gone with Millennium Sanarevi just because yeah, I mean, he's been pretty solid this year, and the Reds' maul defense hasn't actually been that great, to be honest. And Moana, they do actually like to go to their maul. Like, we've seen it like in those Blues games, right? Where Sanarevi was really able to cash in at maul time. So maybe he will be able to pull that off this week. And man, the Reds lineout was pretty shocking last week. I mean, to be fair, they got different locks in this week, so I don't expect that to be the same. But yeah, the Reds, they're probably still less likely to pick off those Moana lineouts as well. Beyond that, I mean, you do have Paenga, Amosa. We know that, you know, we do like to pick hookers against the Endura, but I mean, he's got to get the ball, make sure he gets the ball off Carlo Tizzano, right? So that's kind of the problem when you're a hooker at the force. Moana, I'm a big fan of him, right? And he could actually go well this game, to be honest. But yeah, it's a tricky one to predict, right? Cards versus the Brumbies, how's it gonna go? And I don't think the Brumbies have actually conceded a lot of tries to forwards or at more time this year. So probably not the greatest week to pick Moana, even if he is starting. And you got Natter as well. I mean, you know, maybe, but you probably got better places to spend your red slots when, you know, picking into Moana. And I mean, our more, he was pretty good last week, right? But only problem with our Moore in fantasy is that the Maul is just not a go-to option for the Canes, right? So yeah, it kind of deprives them from some easy tries. They just have to kind of earn them, you know, out and open, rolling their sleeves up on your line. So just less likely to get them than other hookers. And with the props, as usual, guys, don't really have strong opinions here. I think it's pretty much of a muchness. Save your money here if you need to. I've gone with Massimo DeLutis and Harry Johnson home, just because, you know, Moana Pacifica and the Endurua, they have conceded a lot of tries to forwards this year. That's pretty much the extent of it. But as usual, you know, you go for any of these guys in the top 5 in terms of average, they will serve you right. When it comes to captains and boosters, I've made Naholo my captain. Seems a pretty straight up choice for me, to be honest. Like, I don't think he seems less likely to be subbed out of all those Canes backs. And I mean, other options you might look at, it depends on what you got in your outside backs, right? If you got some of those reds in there, you got like a Tim Ryan, Jock Campbell, something like that, you might go for them, but I still feel better on the Holo. Could even go for like Carter Gordon if you want something that's probably going to be solid, but maybe you don't actually like that Reds matchup that much against Moana. So yeah, there's kind of there's a lot of variation in terms of who you could actually be picking this week, and that means there's a bit of variation who your captain could be. But yeah, go for one of your big guns and one of the matchups where you know a team is gonna do well and score well, and then captain the guy that probably isn't gonna get subbed out of whatever options you got, and that's a pretty solid way to go about it. Anyway, guys, that will do it from me. Let me know in the comments what your thoughts are and what you're doing this week. Seems like there's quite a few options in terms of picks this week, which makes things a bit more interesting. Other than that though, I hope you enjoy the rest of your week, and I'll catch you next week for what will be our last round of fantasy. Enjoy yourself till then, and I'll see you later.